Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. We're gonna wait for 2 or 3 more minutes for the rest of the people to join, and then we will start our webinar. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome. So this is a request to everyone. Before we begin, I would like everyone to give their introduction in the chat box. You can type your name, the country you belong from in the chat box. Your name and which country are you joining from today? Hello, everyone. So it's wonderful to see the participants joining from different places.
Should we start?
I think, Mala, we can wait for another minute and then we can
Okay,
start. Yes.
sure.
I think Mara, we can start it now.
Okay, perfect. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Depends where you're joining us from. We are delighted to have you join us today on our webinar on networking and career growth in the health sector beyond degrees and certifications. We are delighted to have you join today in a conversation that brings together students, young professionals, and practitioners from across the world who are a bit interested in building impactful careers in the health sector. Co-hosted by Empower School of Health, UNITAR, Sartorius, and UNDP, this webinar will bring together global health leaders and practitioners to discuss youth leadership, innovation, and cross-sector collaboration in strengthening health systems and advancing equitable healthcare solutions in emerging contexts. The session will explore options and opportunities for you to plan your international career in the health sector. And we have some keynote speakers who will share their expertise and insights. And we encourage you to engage with them throughout the session. Before we begin, I would like to introduce myself briefly. So my name is Mara Robesko. I am currently a project officer at UNITAR within the Division of People and Social Development here in Geneva. And I have recently finished my background studies in international relations and diplomacy. And before, for my bachelor, I have studied business administration. My work mostly focuses on global governance, sustainable development, and youth engagement. But also, I have a pretty big focus on international cooperation. Before I joined UNITAR, I had multiple internships in the diplomatic institutions of Romania, including the Romanian Embassy in Paris and the Romanian General Consulate. Thank you so much. Moving forward, I would let Dr. Shamli introduce herself.
Thank you so much, Mara. So first of all, good afternoon, good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome to everyone who's here to today's career webinar series. My name is Dr. Shamli Thakur. I'm leading the business development and partnerships at Empower School of Health, Geneva, and I'm delighted to welcome all of you to this important session. The session of our series is named as Plan Your International Career in the Health Sector. And the focus is networking and career growth in the health sector. And as Mara mentioned, it is how we can, look at the scope beyond degrees and certification. So if I talk about myself, my work focuses on building partnerships, designing workforce aligned training initiatives, and supporting capacity building programs in the health sector, focusing in health system strengthening. As someone working at the intersection of public health, digital innovation, education, and industry collaboration, I'm especially pleased to be a part of today's conversation on how young professionals can plan international careers in the health sector, not only through degrees and certifications, but also through exposure, networking, practical skills, and informed career choices. So today, together with my co-moderator Mara and our distinguished speakers, we look forward to making this session interactive, practical, and useful for all of you who have joined us today. Okay, so before we begin, I just want to make you all understand, what the flow would be and, what is the webinar agenda. So let me just walk you through the flow of today's session so you all participants, you should know what to expect. So we have a focused 70-minute agenda. We will begin with a short participant poll that my co-moderator Mara would be taking up. This will help us understand who is in the room, all of your backgrounds, career stage, and what brought you here today. After that, we will move into our first speaker session with Mr. Joseph from UNTB. So this discussion will focus on country to global, what it really takes to work in international health. So this will be followed by our second interactive dialogue with Dr. Driss from Sartorius. And the focus of the theme is where science meets strategy, opportunities in biomanufacturing and partnership. This discussion will help us understand career pathways in vaccines, biotechnology, biomanufacturing, technology transfer, regulatory readiness, and public-private partnerships. We'll then hear from Professor Paul Lalwani, and it would be much more focused on the career aspect in global health. And then I would be introducing you to the upcoming Youth Career Accelerator in Health event that is starting in August, which will be taken by participants, which will take the participants to Geneva for a 5-day immersive program. And after the speaker sessions, we will have a 10 minutes interactive Q&A. So please keep your questions ready and post them in the Q&A box during the session. Finally, we will close with key takeaways, a post-webinar poll, and then the certificate information for everyone. So throughout the session, I encourage all of you to stay engaged, participate in the polls, use the chat box, use the Q&A section, and send us your questions. Over to you, Mara.
Thank you, Dr. Shamli. So before we begin, a very quick housekeeping rule. We will have, as Dr. Shamli said, a dedicated Q&A session towards the end of the webinar. So if you have any questions, please feel free to type them into the Q&A tool that will appear at the bottom of your screen, not in the chat, ideally, because that's how we can better keep track of them and to actually get to answer your questions. So now I would also like to ask just for 2-3 minutes of your time to fill out the short poll that should be appearing on your screen in a couple of seconds. 1 second. Mhm. Here it is. You should be able to see it. Is it there? Yeah.
It is there.
Okay.
Yeah.
This poll will just help us to get to know you better, where you're joining from, your background, your interests. So yeah, it will be very useful if you will fill it. Thank you so much. I will now give you some time to fill it out and we will get back to it. Almost half of you already participated. It's very interesting to see the results and you're joining from all over the world. It's very, very nice to have such diverse audience today. Very, very equilibrated, I can say. The percentage of males and females is almost the same, so that's interesting. Lots of students in early career health professionals, which is also what we targeted for. Um, should I leave it a little bit more, maybe 1 more minute for you to fill it out? It's 65% right now participated, so I'm just gonna leave it for 1 more minute and we can proceed after.
How much is the percentage now, Mara? How many of them have answered already?
69%.
I think now we can like publish the results.
Yes. Okay. 10 more seconds for everyone to manage to fill it out. Almost there. Okay, great. Okay, so I will end the poll now and I will share the results. Can you see them?
Yes. Please go ahead.
Perfect.
So we have around 76% of our attendees from Africa. That's a good number. And we also have 10% from Asia and other regions, and 64% of our attendees are male and 35% females. And if I talk about the stakeholder group, which is dominating today, that is early career health professionals, as rightly Mara mentioned. Mara, you want to take rest of the questions?
Yes, sure. So, as far as I see, um, most of you have an idea about networking and career growth in the health sector, which is quite good. I can see that the majority of you said that understanding global health careers, those are built, it's the main reason that brought you to this webinar today, which is really interesting. And yeah, I think this is a very good start. What do you think, Dr. Shamli?
Yes, definitely.
This is we will definitely have a very insightful session for today. So before we continue any longer, let's begin with our first dialogue. I will stop sharing the results now. Okay, perfect.
So we can start with the introduction of Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Please go ahead, Mara. Thank you.
Now it's my pleasure to kindly introduce our first speaker, Mr. Joseph Sertok, who is a Junior Deputy Manager at UNDP Global Fund Partnership and Health System Team here at UNDP in Geneva. So he's a global health systems leader with over 3 decades of experience driving impact at the intersection of development, program management, and healthcare system strengthening. As a deputy manager of the UNDP Global Fund Partnership and Health System team, he is overseeing one of the UNDP's most complex health portfolios across 22 countries and 2 regional programs spanning a further 13 countries. Representing a combined budget of US $1.65 billion. Prior to this role, Joseph served as the UNDP Senior Health Procurement and Supply Chain Management Advisor, and he was based in Copenhagen, bridging technical rigor to one of the most operationally critical areas of global health delivery. Before he joined the UNDP, Joseph held a senior leadership position at the Global Fund Secretariat in Geneva as regional manager for the Middle East and North Africa, where he directed a team of portfolio and technical staff across 16 countries, representing 8% of the Global Fund global grants, more specifically $1 billion US. At the Global Fund Secretariat, he also provided system-wide technical oversight on procurement and supply chain management of health products across all countries of the Global Fund portfolio. So without further addition, Mr. Joseph, you have the floor now.
Thank you so much, Mara. Mr. Joseph, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me and can you see me as well?
No, we cannot see you, sir. Yes,
Okay.
Here we go.
No, yeah, the reason I'm showing my face is for people to understand that it's a person, so it's not AI. But I will turn off my camera because I'm in an airport, so just not to bring in other people in my picture. Yep.
But it's completely fine. Maybe we can share the slide. This shows the theme and your picture. We can have that slide on screen. It's completely fine. Thank you, Mr. Joseph. It's our pleasure to welcome you today. And as Mara rightly mentioned, Joseph is a global health systems leader with more than 3 decades of experience across development, program management, procurement and supply chain, and health system strengthening. And his career has taken him from country level health work in Uganda to senior international roles with WHO, the Global Fund, and now the UNDP. His journey is especially relevant for all participants who want to understand how national or local experience can become a foundation for global health leadership. So, Mr. Joseph, we are delighted to have you with us. So, this is a very, important theme for many of our participants today, as we saw that during our, pre-poll results as well. So, I really want to first, start with your own personal journey, and if I, start with your career beginning, your career itself, it's a very powerful example of like how technical expertise, country level experience, and commitment to public health can grow into regional and global leadership. So it would be great if you can just, let all our young participants joining us today help them understand like how you begin your journey, and how your career, kick started, and what are the important aspects in early career roles that our participants should look into. Over to you, Mr. Joseph.
No, thank you. Thank you very much. And really pleased and happy to be here with all of you, and especially the young people who have joined, the students, and for me to be able to share my experience, my journey with all of you. Very exciting. So thank you very much for the warm introduction, the kind words. For a minute, I couldn't believe that was me you're introducing, but I guess I am. To come back to my journey, I like many other students of that era, went to school and somehow happened to be very good at sciences. And therefore, I had the choice between either doing medicine or pharmacy. And just before I joined university, I had a relative who was unwell. I went into hospital to see that relative for a number of times. And I did realize during that experience that personally, I did not like the sight of blood. And so the next best thing that I could do was become a pharmacist. You still see blood, but not as much as the doctors. And therefore, that's how I started my journey in pharmacy. We didn't have many opportunities like the one that we are now participating in. Unfortunately, I didn't have the privilege or the pleasure of getting that experience, but I went through pharmacy, finished pharmacy school, and started working for the government in my country. After almost 2 years, I joined I joined a private sector company, a big pharma company, and worked there for 5 years. And I think that was really the true turning point, because during that time, I realized that what we were doing when I was working for Big Pharma was really dealing with a very small subset of the population who could either afford to have insurance or pay out of pocket. And that is when my interest as well grew into public health. And I said, what can I do more to be able to make sure that a higher percentage of people can access essential medicines? I therefore then moved back again to the government, which I worked for in a project that was increasing access to essential medicines for a number of years. And as a result of that work, I was able to join WHO. Now, one of the critical things there that I think I need to mention right now is that if you really want to be able to work for any of these international organizations, please make sure that you work at the local level, either for a government or a non-governmental organization, because if you go to the international level, what you're doing is supporting countries to implement programs at the local level. If you don't understand how those programs work, then it doesn't really, you won't, first of all, won't be able to understand what you're advising, but you will not have that experience to see where the bottlenecks are, what do the countries need to do to be able to surmount those obstacles. So I spent another 4 years at WHO, and then I was lucky at that time to join the Global Fund, where I continued again working on issues of access to medicines, and certainly now serving a much bigger population than I was doing before when I was working at a country level. I was now working with a number of countries, but with the primary aim of making sure that countries have access to essential medicines. And maybe to close off on that, what was the tipping point that drove me? You may have seen or heard that I come from Uganda. And during the time that I actually graduated, that was the peak of the HIV/AIDS epidemic. And at that time, unlike today, there was really no medicine. So it was really making sure that you provided palliative care to patients who had HIV/AIDS. And then a few years later, there was the 1 or 2 medicines that came out. And that was game changing to the treatment of HIV/AIDS. And therefore, that is what really drove me to make sure that I work on issues of access to medicines, particularly for HIV/AIDS, because there was a large need for that, not only in my country, but globally. I will stop there and hand back to you, Dr. Camille.
That is very interesting, Joseph, because it actually shows that, a career direction often begins with a technical foundation, but over time, that foundation can open doors into system levels work. And for many young professionals, and students who have joined today, this is actually very important insight because your first degree or your first job, it does not define your entire career. It can become the starting point for something much wider. So now let's, I really want to understand. So, how your career began to shift from national level work to the broader regions and I would say global responsibilities. So, was this something, I'm assuming it was definitely not planned, but as you went through this complete journey, what kind of experience you gained, and looking back at your journey, what role did field experience, technical credibility, and professional networking has helped you make that transition?
Yeah. No, thank you. And you did mention on something that I thought I would state a little bit later on, but let me state it now. I think it's very important that I do that. And I had this from a professor, so I'm actually, credit is not mine, but it was a very interesting, and I say apologies to those who may find it a little bit rough around the edges, but basically what this professor said is that if you are going to enter into any technical field and be able to build a career there, the first thing that you need to do is come when you are clothed. And what he meant by that was that if you are going to enter into this field, first of all, have the technical qualifications. Because if you don't have the technical qualifications, then the conversation starts on a very different level. Once you have the technical qualifications, those are the clothes that you're putting on. And now you need to prove what those technical skills and qualifications that you have can contribute to solving a problem. In my case, the problem was access to essential medicines. So if you don't have that background, you're going nowhere because simply then you're going to be engaged in a conversation. What qualifications do you have? What did you actually study? And to remove that, you must have the qualification, and then you start talking about what experience do you have, what can you contribute. So I was lucky that I had that qualification, the bachelor's degree in pharmacy. I did some postgraduate training in health systems management and health systems development. And once that was out of the way, I had worked for a national government, so I had seen how programs are actually implemented at the local level. And therefore, the issue was now in the transition to say, what can I do to support the challenges that I actually encountered myself, that I could see what can I do from a different level to resolve that problem with the funding that was available, with the technical expertise that was available. So that was what really made the transition for me to be able to have the technical skills and then bring them to a different level. And then last but not least was really networking. Some of the jobs that I have since, I think, including the one definitely at the Global Fund, was based on the work that I had done. People actually did headhunt me and say, look, we have an opening at this level that we think you could be a good fit for. Why don't you apply for it? And that's how I really started off my career from when I was at WHO country office, being asked to apply for a position. And I guess it's really important now to say that the person who did that was actually Professor Albani, who encouraged me because by then he was the head of procurement and supply chain management at the Global Fund. So he encouraged me. Unfortunately, by the time I joined, he had left. But still, he did start off my journey by joining the Global Fund. So yeah, I guess that's over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joseph. And I think, that's a very useful reminder for all of us over here that international careers, they are not built overnight. They are often built through credibility, consistency, and ability to deliver in real world settings. And as rightly mentioned by you, you are here at a, real world leadership position. And as rightly mentioned by you, our founder and executive director, Professor Lalwani, He himself has been, in the space of, health, pharmaceutical supply chain for more than 3 decades, and a UN diplomat himself. So, coming back to the, I would say highlighting the aspect of managing real world leadership, because you yourself, Joseph, you have worked across major, institutions, including WHO, Global Fund, and now UNDP. So, for young professionals who have joined us today, they all of them, if they know these organizations from different job postings, websites, but could you explain what global health program management looks like in practice, and what does it really mean to manage these health programs across countries, partners, managing budgets and health systems? Because after your experience, these will definitely give a real world insight to our participants. Over to you, Mr. Joseph.
No, thank you, thank you. So as I said earlier on, and I will go back and forth on some of the points that I have made, re-emphasize them. One of the key ones is the technical skills really form the backbone or the base on which you do everything. And as you go up in your career, you realize that once the technical skills are there, taken for granted, because once you're there, there is no foundation to build. So please remember that everything I say is built on top of the technical skills, because once those skills are not there, the next stage does not happen. The next stage, then, the work that I have done, it tends to actually sort of be very different from what you have studied at school in a typical university curriculum. And that includes what we call stakeholder management. You start dealing with a wide range of people who have different interests, whose understanding of a problem, whose approach to resolving a particular issue is very different. And if you are a technical advisor or you're working with them, the biggest element that you have is how do you balance the competing interests that you have to make sure that you still achieve the same objectives. So stakeholder management, extremely critical, based on the number of people that you're working with across different countries, across different backgrounds, across different understandings. The second one is you have to deal with risk management, because most of the things that you'll be doing will be done in countries that may have different systems from the ones that you are used to. So you must make sure that whatever support you're providing, one, is feasible to be implemented in that country, but two, that actually what is going to be done and achieves the intended objective. So if these are medicines, you must make sure the medicines are transported, they are stored properly, they are accounted for, they are distributed to the end beneficiaries. So that's extremely, extremely critical. And you find that those skills, eventually, one, you gain from experience, but you also gain from listening to talks like this, you gain from talking to mentors, you gain from attending courses like the ones that the Empower School of Health provides, so that you can build onto your technical skills and utilize them to be able to effect change. Otherwise, just the technical skills themselves can only take you so far. So I think stakeholder management, communication, I sort of missed out on that. You must be able, if you have a vision or something that you want to transmit, you must be able to communicate and explain that in very simple terms to the people that you're working with, so that they understand exactly what needs to be done to achieve the end result. So I will stop there, and happy to take any other questions from you or anyone else.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joseph. We are just at the last section where I was going to ask you about the practical, skill set that that youth professionals should gain, but I think you have already covered it. So just last one question, like what mistakes should young professionals should avoid when they're trying to enter the global health, career? So like you have already mentioned about the important skill set, but what mistakes a young professional should avoid?
Ooh, how much time do we have? But anyway, I think inevitably, any professional, including myself, up to this age, I think it would be not right for me to say you will not make mistakes. You will make wrong turns, okay?
Definitely.
Sometimes, of course, at my level, you make the mistakes you make are slightly different from others that may be made at a different level based on the experience and knowledge that I have. But you will make mistakes, you'll make wrong turns. But the most important thing, two things. One is, what is the end result that you're trying to achieve? So if you make a wrong turn, and you will do, I call it a wrong turn, I call it a wrong turn, prefer to call it a wrong turn rather than a mistake, because it's not intentional. People make mistakes because they don't know. Once you make that mistake, the first thing is to realize you've made a mistake. Somebody may tell you, you may realize yourself. And once you do that, you then have to pivot very quickly. What do you need to do to course correct and achieve the end result that you are working towards? If you don't do that, then it becomes extremely difficult for you to achieve or even grow. Recognize your mistake. Ask, if you don't know, what do I need to do to course correct and achieve my intended objective? But you will make the mistakes. The severity of those mistakes over time should be lessening, should not be increasing, because if they're increasing, then you have a problem and you need to seek mentorship, you need to seek courses that are offered, because you can learn some things. The others, you will learn from the field as you go along, and you see how people work, you learn from mentors, you learn from other people who have gone through the path that you're trying to go through. So that's why I ask first, how much time do we have? Because if I go down that road, I could talk for the entire session, which is not the subject of this. But one, recognize that you will take wrong turns, mistakes will happen. Recognize that you need to turn. And I guess I end with the nice quote from, I think it's from Japan, if I'm not mistaken. The earlier you realize if you're on the wrong train and get off as soon as possible, the least costly is your return journey to your right place. So if you realize you're on the wrong train, get off as quickly as possible, because the longer you stay on, the more expensive that journey becomes to return back to where you're supposed to go. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joseph. Like your reflections, they have given all of us a very practical and encouraging message. Like, we have to take everything step by step. This complete journey has to be built through technical grounding, field experience, credibility, networking, and very important, willingness to understand how health system works in real life. So the key takeaway for everyone over here is, do not estimate your early roles. Focus on building strong foundations, seek practical exposures, learn how systems operate, and stay open to opportunities that can connect your local experience and maybe it can bring you to the global level. So for our participants, this is a reminder that you really have to stand out, when it comes to looking for opportunities of skilling yourself. And now we will be moving from global health systems and program leadership into another very fast growing area I would highlight, that is vaccines, biotechnology, biomanufacturing, and strategic partnerships. Over to you, Mara. Thank you so much, Mr. Joseph.
Yes, I would like to thank Mr. Joseph as well for his incredible insights and life story. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you here, sir. So moving forward, I would like to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Dries Bedefa, who is a Business Development and Strategic Partnership Manager at EMEA Sartorius in Lausanne, Switzerland. So Mr. Bedefa is, as I said, the Business Development and Strategic Partnerships Manager, leading initiatives in bioprocessing, advanced therapies, and emerging biotechnology markets. With over 15 years of experience in biotechnology processes and biomanufacturing strategy, he drives key partnerships, technology transfer programs, and capacity building efforts across Europe, Africa, and nevertheless the Middle East. His work focuses on scalable biomanufacturing platforms, ecosystem development, and advising public and private stakeholders on regulatory readiness and technical capability strengthening. Dries has also played an active role in strategic engagement with ministries of health, governmental bodies, and vaccine manufacturing programs across the EMA region, representing Sartorius in national capacity building and public-private partnership initiatives. It's our pleasure to have him here today with us, and I would now like to give him the floor. Mr. Grace, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you all. It's a pleasure to be here with you today with such audience, and I would like to thank Empower School and UNITAR, UNDP for such opportunity.
Thank you so much, Mara. Thank you so much, Dres, for joining us as a prestigious speaker. And I would really like to highlight that Dres brings over 15 years of experience in biotechnology processes and biomanufacturing. And your work has been focused on bioprocessing, advanced therapies, emerging biotechnology markets, tech transfer, ecosystem development. So the theme of a conversation with Dres is where science meets strategy, opportunities in biomanufacturing and partnerships. Dres, we are delighted to have you with us today. So this is something very important and very critical for all the young people who have joined us today. When anyone they hear terms like vaccine manufacturing, bioprocessing, advanced therapies, regulatory readiness, and technology transfer, but they may not fully understand what they actually mean in career terms. So I really want to first kick off this discussion with your career journey. So could you just take us back to the beginning of your career, how did your journey led you into biotechnology, biomanufacturing, and strategic partnerships? Over to you.
Thank you, Shamili. So yeah, it's as in young student getting out from the university. My career started almost 20 years back, and I'm originally from Algeria. My bachelor degree. Then in head I was thinking to be a scientist and to be in this field, right? I continue my studies in France, biotechnology, bioengineer, and once I finished my master degree, I moved to Canada for internship for viral vectors and cell and gene therapy. That was the first time for me to go for, let's say, in between industry and process development. And I learned a lot during this journey. Then I moved back to France for a company for rare diseases, and where I learned a lot about bioprocesses, how to develop from the beginning. So to discover the diseases, the genetics, and also to try to find a cure for rare diseases, right? So then moving back at that moment, we had this type of CRISPR-Cas9 discover and the potential of using, moved back to Canada. And I was in charge of implementation of a lab for CRISPR-Cas9 wide genome knockout and establish using all the expertise that I developed in the past 5 years before that, and starting to understand the interactions between genes and also chemogenomics. After some years, 2-3 years, I decided to move back to Europe. I had an opportunity in Switzerland where I was a lab manager and I was in charge of process development. So my career was never linear and always new challenges that bring me more technical aspects. And as a manager at EPFL, that was the first time that I was in contact with industries and also with the funders, funding organism, global role. And this, after 5 years, I moved to Sartorius, where I start in other positions, technical positions. I think Joseph earlier, he mentioned also this part. I will discuss that later. Then I was in charge of bioprocess modeling for vaccines and also for biologics production in general, and in charge of market analysis. This is very important for a company to understand the needs of the market. And at the moment we had the COVID period where we were working on the mRNA and the vaccines, how to provide that from Sartorius for different companies, and also developing new modalities. And since I moved more to let's say industrial and business mindset, and since in the past years in charge of business development and commercialization. Today, how I see it, bringing much more in discussion strategic partnership for vaccines and biologics in general, and especially in the region of Africa and Middle East, because that's the results of the COVID. During the COVID, we see that there is more and more need to localize the industrialization and also the production locally in Africa and Middle East. And since I am in discussion with the government, with different regulatory agencies, and how to implement that. So at the end of the day, I find I never ever was dreaming or thinking that I will find myself in industry. It's the opposite completely. But my path, I see that's just to continue to be flexible and also to combine different backgrounds from technical to business, commercial, strategic. That's all together bring you path that fitting what's needed on the market and also in the position. It's my pleasure to be here today to share and to hear from our audience.
Thank you so much, Chris. And this is a very, helpful reminder for all of us, because the young professionals and students who are listening today, it is very important because it shows that your first role, your, first career goal that you have set, that is not your final destination. And any technical background, it can lead to grow into a leadership or position, partnership strategy, and make you enable you to create a global health impact. So let us now make the complete industry itself a bit easier for our participants to who may be new into the space. So, like, how would you explain the global vaccine and biomanufacturing industry in like simple career terms, like and any young professional who is thinking about this industry, they should actually, focus much more beyond the laboratories. Over to you.
Absolutely, yeah, that's a good question and also long journey. Having a vaccine on the market to the patient took time, and also its multi-layer complexities, starting for the lab scientists. I will take the example of COVID disease. Recently, all of us, I think all participants today, they survived, they passed through, right? The first, it's scientists that they should discover or identify the antigens in the lab. Bringing the antigen to another level, which system could be used to produce the vaccine and to study the immunity response, and also which system, whether it will be viral vector based or recombinant based vaccine, need an intermediate phase called the process development. Process development means what had been developed in the lab should be scalability mid-scale to be sure that all the parameters are working well, then the vaccine is working well. Once we develop and we see it's working well, we need to move for scalability. And this is challenging topic where we need to prove that the predictability and the production is working at large scale. And we need to keep in mind the big producers and manufacturers of vaccines, at the end, they will sell their products. So you need to be in a range also acceptable prices, because there is also in the past, you see there is vaccines or biomolecules that's produced, but economically is not able to get to the market. Why? Because it's too expensive, or it's not possible to scale up the process. And here the bioengineer people or in bioprocesses, they came and they do all their job to bring it scalable. Once it's there, so we will move through all the phases to prove that the vaccine is working, preclinical studies, clinical studies, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and starting to work also with the regulatory agencies and also for the safety to be sure that is safe, the product that we are producing. Once it's done, then we move for the manufacturing at large scale. There is other complexity. One, it's for who will be the finance and the funding, who produce, then also strategy, market penetration, and also the supply chain, the procurement, and the government. Here there is huge discussions for people that's at this level for partnership and industrialization. Then later on, it will be about the supply chain to ensure the supply chain. In between today, after the COVID, what I would like to mention here is about the tech transfer. It's a huge topic since the now 5 years CDC, Africa CDC and other agencies worldwide, all the countries, they are trying to get their own platform, their own manufacturing localization, right? And
Yes.
we need tech transfer. How to tech transfer such technology from Western countries or somewhere else that have been developed and produced to the localization. And we need engineers, we need also professionals to ensure that the tech transfer is seamless. And also we need people, they are able to manage for project management and also for the entire workflow, fill and finish, and ensure the safety. And what we will produce will be exactly the same initially produced. So it's very long. Then at the end, we need to go for the regulatory agencies, each country, to discuss, to bring the result, and to have the approval to produce and to market the product. So it's a long journey. It's a composition of different layers, starting from scientists
Yes.
until the politicians at the end.
This is very useful, Chris. Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
For you.
Okay, so this is very useful, Chris. One message, one message that stands out is that vaccine industry is not a single career track, and it is a complete value chain. It begins with the science and innovation, but depends on manufacturing, tech transfer, regulatory systems, and as you mentioned, partnerships, financing, logistics, and people who connect all these pieces. So for young professionals who have joined us today, it is like very clear that it has to be not just only for scientists but also people who are coming from backgrounds in pharmacy, public health, engineering, business, regulatory affairs, policy, project management, and partnerships. So now this I just want you to highlight this would be the last question for you, like which roles are highly technical and like which ones require more of cross functionality and strategic skills, like, and where do you see the growing demand for our young professionals who are who can think of joining the complete industry, the vaccine industry?
I see for the entire, it's broadly from scientists until the end. All of them are needed. Depends on the background today and the audience. If they are coming from biological background, they are needed because we need to take in consideration all the work for biologics, QC, and also development R&D needed. If it's pharmacists, doctors are needed for clinical studies and also for QA, QC, and all the regulatory aspect that's needed. I see also if we does also some people from management, project management, also policies, they are needed and they are very important in the process. Mainly, of course, always we think that vaccines are only scientists. It's beyond that. There is also all the economical aspects. Vaccines, at the end of the day, we will be selling these vaccines and the company producing it's a profit organization. In general, they are profit organizations to ensure the continuity, sustainability of the production. So we need to have also business plans. That means we need finance people. And in the daily work, also dealing with finance people that are having completely different background to analyze the market, to ensure to have the funds. So the entire different layers are needed for young students or young engineers, pharmacists, professionals, all of them are needed. It's good to have technical aspects because always this is something where we start, but there is a lot of examples. I know them. They switch in between roles. He's coming from technical background, then he finds himself really in commercial, in strategies, and the opposite, coming finance or management, and he's really related to the manufacturing side. He is key cornerstone for the manufacturing inside. Of course, this will take to learn, and sometimes learning also by practice. It's very beneficial and bringing another angle completely different. And I see that when I discuss with the manufacturers and the lab R&D PD, they have completely different angles to see for topics and how to bring the project to make it successful.
Thank you so much, Tess. This is very, very helpful because your reflections, they have given our participants a very practical understanding of the complete vaccine and biotechnology industry. So a key takeaway that I want to mention is that the sector sits at the intersection of science, manufacturing, regulation, partnership, strategy, and access. It's just not only about discovering or producing vaccines, but also about building the systems, collaborations, and capabilities which are needed to deliver high impact and at a global level. Thank you so much, Jess.
Welcome. It's our pleasure to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Grace. Really, it was a very insightful conversation.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. So, if there is any questions, please. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we will be taking the Q&A post one more session that would be taken by me. So if we can just have the slide uh, for the theme 3, because now we are moving to the third segment, which will focus on how to explore careers in global health. And, this will bring us to a very practical next step opportunity for many of you who have joined us today. That is the Youth Career Accelerator in Health. So this is a 5-day immersive workshop which has been designed for students, young professionals who want to understand the health sector and explore career pathways, build networks, and gain real world exposure in Geneva. So, if I ask you all, when we talk about the health sector today, this is changing rapidly. We are seeing, major shifts which are driven by digital technologies, artificial intelligence, change in the funding landscape, global health challenges. So, for many young professionals, this creates both opportunities and confusion. Many students they ask, where do I fit in the health sector? Should I go in the global health sector, public health, biotechnology, digital health, pharma, or health policy? How do I choose the right pathway? So the Youth Career Accelerator is designed to help you all answer exactly these questions. Next slide. So this program is especially for the students and early career professionals who already, know that, the health sector is for them, but it is very important to identify, what is beyond lectures. So you will have immersive experience, future focused learning. There will be engagement with global experts, and there will be a health sector work in practice, and you will be connecting with a diverse global cohort. And one of the very important feature of this program is its location, that is Geneva, Switzerland. Because, as you all know, that this is a strong hub for global health, diplomacy, international cooperation, because it's the home to leading UN agencies and global health institutions. Next slide, please. So if I talk about the complete journey, it is divided into 3 stages. So the first stage would be before the workshop, where you will be having the online preparation, which will include virtual sessions on health systems, global trends, and career pathways. The second stage would be the Geneva experience, which would be the 5-day immersion workshop, international workshop, where you'll be engaged in expert-led sessions, site visits, and hands-on learning. The third stage, once you are done with the 5-day immersion workshop at Geneva, there will be the continuous growth and mentorship, which would be given to you. There will be, access to mentors, career coaching, and global network of peers and opportunities. And in addition to the major 4 health career tracks, that is global health, climate health, health diplomacy, public health policy, health system delivery, navigating digital health, discovering pharma, vaccines, biotech, medtech, you will also be building your cross-cutting career skills. That is leadership, teamwork, communication, storytelling, career planning, networking, and collaboration. Next slide. So the registration fee is already there on screen, and we have extended the deadline for the early registrations. For any inquiries, collaborations, you can connect with me and Luca from UNITAR, and our team is already, sending you the details of the email IDs that you can connect on to. Over to you, Mara.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Shamli. So before we close, I would like to also sincerely thank all the speakers today for their time, expertise, and of course their valuable insights. So as you saw, today's discussion highlighted some very important messages. Just building a successful career in global health goes far beyond than any academic qualifications, and it requires curiosity, network, strategic thinking, and real-world engagement. That's why we also encourage you to explore the Youth Career Accelerator in Health as a next step in your international learning journey. Finally, before closing, I would highly appreciate if you would take 2 minutes to. Oh no! Before we go into
Yes,
the
we
poll,
can
we
take
will
the
start with the Q&A. Actually, I'll let Dr. Shamli guide you to that. So, Mr. Dries and Mr. Joseph,
yes.
I'm gonna.
We will now open the floor for Q&A, so you may submit your questions in the Q&A section. So, Mark, if you can just help me fetch out some good questions. Let me see. Okay.
Yes, there are already some questions.
Yes,
Let's
yes.
see. Is there any chance of weighing research?
This is a very interesting question. I really want to highlight this to both Dres and Joseph. So from Joseph, we have this question. There is this bias that for one to work as a health supply chain specialist, one has to have a pharmacy degree. Is this still the case despite one having worked in hospital or health supply chain for years? Otherwise, I agree with Joseph that technical skills are critical, but must they be pharmaceutical? So,
It's
yeah,
not a must and depends on the countries also. My understanding depends. Now we are working in the region, in Africa, the continent, and Middle East, and here in Europe. It depends from country to country. It's not mandatory to be only pharmacist. This is my answer, if I understood well the question.
yes, I think that that's actually true. It will definitely, depend on the country to country landscape and the eligibility criteria. It is nothing very stringent on that. Okay, so now this is very interesting by Karen. So, how to deal with laydowns, and what do you think about age-based discriminations during hiring? So this is something very, I think, focused question on. I think in health sector, I don't think that this holds true for all the hiring. So this is a question focused on age-based discrimination during hiring. Karen, is it? Yeah, please go ahead, Riz.
I think it's difficult also as to answer. We are talking about globally, right? And we cannot generate just. And what I know for big positions or roles, for sure, the role is related really for the expertise. And Joseph, we mentioned earlier, yeah, the expertise, technical expertise, and also in the field, known in the field. From my perspective, yeah.
So there is this another question from Kafo. Hi, I'm interested in clinical research management or clinical project. I have experience in agile project management. I don't have a health science education background. What do I need to break through the job market?
I think for also here for all the clinical studies with whom we worked and I'm working, there is a huge demand, especially in Africa and in Europe, and not all of them having this background. Of course, some of them, they need the technical and also the background pharmacist doctor if is needed. But for the project management and also for other type of partnership, they are completely from another other field. Yeah.
Definitely. So this is a question, okay, directly, mentioned for you, Dr. Driz. So this is from Simbarshe. I come from multidisciplinary background, holding a BSc and an MSc in animal science, and a master's in engineering in nanobioengineering, and a PhD in nuclear physics, medical physics. While this diverse training has given me a broad scientific perspective, I find it challenging to transition into the pharmaceutical industry and into policy-oriented organizations such as UNDP and WHO. So, what skills and experience or career strategies would help, bridge the gap between academic research and career? So, this is, I think, very similar to what you shared, Driss, about your career journey.
I think the first step should be this is it's difficult, depends also, from one to one to how to transition. I see a lot of nanobiotechnology, and he would like to move to find the way to go there. It's to get inside the pharma, the manufacturing. So always there is a huge demand now. There is this nanobiotechnology, nanotechnology in general. And once you get the first job there, to have the expertise, and in these organizations or non-governmental NGOs or GOs, they need always to have this background that you are coming from industry, you are coming from. So the first step is to find what you would like to do, and in the field that you pursue, then moving to such organizations. It's in the beginning always. I think Joseph earlier said always the first step. It's not easy.
Exactly. Yes,
But
yes.
just to be flexible from my side, during my career. So always it's never been linear or clear. So is a path you adapt. It's very it's needed quality for the flexibility and adaptability.
Thank you so much, Driss. And I can see still many questions are there, but rest assured we will be taking your questions via email. We have there it in our records. So over to you, Mara. Thank you to all the participants who have thoughtfully put down their questions. And now I think Mara, if you can just help us with the
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, I would like to now ask everyone to take 2 or 3 minutes to complete also our end of webinar poll that will appear on your screen right now. Do you see it?
Yes, it's visible.
Yep.
Oh, yes. Yes, perfect. So I'm going to let you a couple of minutes to finish to complete this, and I'll be back.
I would encourage everyone to take part in the post poll questions. And once you're done with it, you will be also receiving the link for the certificate of participation. But after the poll, you will be receiving that. So I would request everyone to participate in the
Yes.
post-webinar poll.
Also, the poll is very helpful for us to know what we can improve or what we did good this time, what we can do better next time. It's really important. Thank you so much.
Yes, and also the post poll, results, Mara, they help us to identify what kind of interest, our learners and participants have, and then accordingly we can plan our next webinars.
Yes, of course, of course. And don't forget, after the poll, you're gonna receive the certificate. So please.
So for everyone who is asking about the presentation, the recording of the webinar will be, shared with you soon, and be uploaded on our websites also. So you'll get access to that.
Yes, we almost have a 50% of people who participated, so I'm gonna leave this for 2 more minutes, and after we can close it.
And for those who are interested in taking the next step, we encourage you to, visit our website. So I would request our team to put the link to our website also, which takes them to the Youth Career Accelerator in Health in Geneva that is happening from 17th to 21st August.
Yes, Dr. Harpreet, if you can put the link in the chat, that would be very useful for everyone.
Yes.
And don't forget, if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out via email. We're here to ask any of your questions, especially regarding the upcoming workshop in Geneva.
And we are just 5 days away from the early registration deadline. It will be closed on 30th of June. So you can consider early registration and filling the complete details and being a part of the cohort for the Youth Career Accelerator in Geneva. Sabri, we do take payments via credit card. So you have both the options of debit card and credit cards. How much percentage have we achieved, Mara, in our 4 questions? How many of them have answered?
We are now at 60% answers.
Yeah.
30 more seconds and I'm going to close.
Sure.
I think we're good.
Once everyone is done with the polls, our team will be putting up the link for the certificate generation.
I think we can close the poll now. I will end the poll. Thank you so much for everyone who answered. And thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to welcoming you to our next sessions as well. I would now like Dr. Shamli post the certificate here. It was a pleasure moderating this webinar with you, and it was a great conversation. Thank you for all the speakers, and thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mara. Also, Mara, if you can just help us with the final results that you gained from the post webinar.
Yes, they're already posted here.
Okay. So how would you rate your understanding of the skills, education pathways? Okay, 56% find that they have significantly improved. And regarding the understanding of career opportunities, so if they club, okay, so that's not bad. 94% significantly improved and moderately improved. And how relevant was the webinar content to your academic, professional, or career interests? 76% finds it highly relevant and 19% found it moderately relevant. Okay. You want to take up the rest of the questions, Mara?
Yes. So as far as I see here, the opinions are quite mixed. Either some of you would like to review and strengthen the CV and professional profile, either to take mentoring, the professional networks, research public and private sector health organization and job pathways. But also, that's very interesting. I can see 8 of you are interested to apply to the Youth Career Accelerator, which is indeed a very, very nice result. It will be a pleasure for us to welcome you there. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And yeah, the percentage of people interested in joining our workshop is pretty high. We're very excited about that. And we have a very good answer rate for the, very good grade for the overall quality of speakers and discussions. 75% of you rated it excellent, while 24% said it's good.
Yeah, as
We're
Professor
thrilled with
Lalwani
this
always
result.
says, yeah, as Professor Lalwani always mentions, there's some scope of improvement. But I would really, extend my heartfelt thanks to our speakers, Mr. Joseph and Dr. Driss, and also Professor Paul Lalwani for his leadership. And I really want to thank all the facilitators and my co-moderator, Ms. Mara Robesco, all our organizing
Thank you, Dr.
teams. Yeah, and most importantly, all the participants who have joined us and engaged with us. And we really hope, that today's session has been a great help to you. And we look forward to see you and welcome you for the next webinar. And as I saw, 98% of you showed interest for the Youth Career event at Geneva. So looking forward to welcome you all there as well. I hope you all have generated your certificates. And yes, the link is safe. The link for the generation of certificate is absolutely safe. I saw one of the questions. Yeah, we would be sharing the recording as well.
Thank you, Dr. Shamli. Thank you once again. And it was a pleasure being here with you all today. Thank you.
Thank you. It was my pleasure to be with you also. Thank you for all of you, for the audience, great audience, and looking forward. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chris.
Thank you, Dr. Driss.